What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Daniel Teaches Experience. Folks, I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to entertain you and hopefully educate you and really just talk about some things and get some things off my chest. So first off, the first thing I really want to talk about is books. So I've told you folks that I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of self-help books, some business books, some psychology books, and I want to be talking about some of my thoughts on some of these books and whether you should pursue these books or whether you should stay away from them. So the first one I'm going to be talking about today, it'll be rather quick. It'll be The Go-Giver, a little story about a powerful business idea by Bob Burg and John Davidman. Now, The Go-Giver, what you got to know is this is a fiction book, and it's essentially about a gentleman by the name of Joe. Now, before I go any further, I hate spoiling things like movies or books. I'm not going to give you any things away because for anyone who reads it, I want you to read it firsthand, not hear it from me. But to give you a little bit of an overview, it's a gentleman who's in this go-getter attitude, right? He's in business, and he thinks, you got to go out there and you got to take it. And this book, The Go-Giver, really makes you think about, giving, right? In a sense of, it should never be about, okay, how can I make as much money as possible? It's like, no. If you're a self-employed, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, it should always be about how can I get the largest amount of value to the customer, right? What is it? Now you might say, well, McDonald's, right? You can make a better burger than a cheeseburger, but the distribution, right? They've got so many, they serve so many people. That's why they're on another level, or let's say you've got, another burger place, right? Another burger place that's not as big as McDonald's, but their food is relatively cheap, and it's cheaper than other places. So what ends up happening is when a customer goes in and they pay for that burger, so let's say burgers and fries for like $8, then they have this perception of, whoa, I'm getting greater value than I'm giving in payments, right? Because if you think, man, like my $8 is totally worth this, this amazing burger and these amazing fries, I'm going to come back here next time. Not only that, I'm going to become a personal walking ambassador. I'm going to endorse these people for free. If my friend tells me, hey man, where should we get burgers? Oh, dude, we got to go here. They're amazing. And indirectly, they're amazing because in your mind, you believe that you're receiving greater value for the money that you're giving them. So really, it's not about as much as psychology as it is just a little bit about business, a little bit about giving. And overall, it's a very interesting book. It's very short. This is one thing that I love. It was about, I want to say a total of just about 120 pages around there. Very easy to read, easy to digest. I don't like when books or movies, they put excessive amounts of information in there for you just to kind of get through, which is not necessary. And The Go-Giver does not do that. Everything's there for a reason. Easy to read. I read this thing when I was, I want to say 16, 17. And then I understood everything, so you're going to understand everything. And I think it did a brilliant job with respect to being a fiction book, showing you a lot of these things that are very practical to the real world and how, whether you want to establish a brand, right? Whether you're an influencer, whether you want to start posting your art online, music, it tells you the importance of networking and just the importance of giving, right? And remembering that you want to become a person of value. You want to become valuable. Well, how do you become valuable, right? You give. You either give to a large amount of people or you give to, let's say, not that large, but what you give, it changes their lives, right? Why does a counselor, why can they get away with charging $90 an hour, right? It's that value that they give you, right? The greater the value, I would argue, the more, right, they have to charge you more, right? Because it's not about what they're doing necessarily, but it's the impact that it has on your life. So The Go-Giver does a brilliant job of really showing that in a very concise manner. Again, there's a lot that I left out because if you do want to read this book, I want you to stumble upon it yourself. It's absolutely dope. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Amazon. You can probably find it on, what's the other one called? Like Indigo. But yeah, really interesting, good, interesting book. It was a good read, good to go through, easy to digest, and some really solid ideas. Let me read you one of these ideas from this book. Let's see, because it had a couple of laws. And for example, I'll read you one thing straight from in here. It says, the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment, right? Just going right back to what I said earlier in the discussion, right? It's measured by when I perceive the value that you are giving me is great and even greater than the payment that I'm giving you, that's when you got them. That's when you absolutely got them. Now, obviously, right, when you don't want to oversimplify this, and if you're a business, right, you don't want to go out of business, right? You still want to be able to pay for things here and there. But essentially it's saying, hey, if you do surgery, right, and if someone who has constant back pain doesn't have back pain anymore, well, based on that outcome and how much value you are granting them, you have a right to charge a hell of a lot of money. So it makes a lot of sense. So The Go-Giver, overall, good read, easy read. Who would I recommend this for? Anyone who really wants to look at networking, anyone who really wants to look at the importance of giving, the importance of changing your perspective from what does the consumer see, right? What is it from the consumer's perspective, and how do I hook you? How do I hook your attention? How do I get your attention? And how do I intrigue you? So anyone who's interested in networking and business from that sense, I would highly recommend The Go-Giver. It is a very interesting book. It was a very delightful thing to read. And that was one of the books that I read. And I'd say if you're interested in business and interested in networking, and greatening your exposure, right? Exposing your brand even further, I would highly recommend The Go-Giver. So definitely check that bad boy out. All right. Now, with that out of the way, happy birthday, everybody. Oh, that's not the right word to say. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, folks. It's been over a year of lockdown since COVID. It's been over a year. Isn't that crazy? I remember when COVID just happened, I remember thinking like, man, like this thing isn't going to last, past the summer. Like there's no way this is going to be a year long. And here we are. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? How long did you think COVID was going to last? Maybe not this long. So I don't know about how your country's doing individually and how your state or your province is handling things. Folks, I think there's a really big problem when you have different provinces or different states in a country that have completely different rules. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the approach to COVID in, let's say, California has been widely different than the approach to COVID in Florida, right? You're both in the same country. But you're handling it differently, right? Is it complete shutdown versus, hey, a mask is just strongly recommended? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan because, when everybody, like especially for the complete shutdown thing, right? If everybody doesn't play the same game, well, you can just throw it out the window then because it doesn't make any sense. That's one thing I'm not a fan of. I wish that more people were on the same boat. A quote that I heard from, I don't remember who it was, but they said, 2 people can get more done in a room than 100 people could. Because when you have so many people involved and everyone's got their own ideas of what they should do, let's wear a mask, let's wear a double mask, let's never go out again. No, man, let's go out again. Well, let's just only sit outside. We don't sit inside. Okay, let's go into stores and you have to wear a mask. Okay, or let's go in stores. You don't have to wear a mask, but you got to distance yourself like 1 meter. It's like, dude, we all got to be on the same step or it's not going to take so long, right? Or it's going to take longer than it should. If I was the mayor or the president or whatever, I would have gone hard in the beginning. I would have gone hard. I would have been hardcore. No remorse. I would have been like, hey, man, everything's shut down. No, a gym is not an essential building or essential business. No, a restaurant is not an essential business. A liquor store is not an essential business. Forget it, bro. We won't, from the government side, we won't tax you for that month. We won't get you to pay because we know that we're shutting it down because of us, right? You won't have to pay for insurance for that month, whatever. That's on us. But for 2 weeks, everything is shut down, except maybe like a hospital or something urgent. And all airports are also shut down. No traveling. I don't care what it is, man. You're getting married? Dude, delay it by 6 months. It's a funeral? Again, you can delay it. You know what I mean? So I would have shut everything down. Everyone's playing ball. And I promise you, after 2 months, after a month, everything will be back to normal. You go hard in the beginning. No one's allowed out. If you are out with someone else and you're not wearing a mask, you're charged immediately $500, $1,000. Everybody wears a mask. Everybody's careful for 2 weeks, a month, maybe a month and a half, and we'll be rid of it. But when we start, for lack of a better term, half-assing things, what I mean by that is you close everything down and then you open it up too early and you're like, oh, there's a second wave. So then you close it down again and then you open it up again. Did you see how comical that sounds, right? Because essentially what's happening here is you go, well, you promise the people something, right? This is where the problem is. You say, we're going to open things back up. And then as you start to open things back up, you realize, oh, things are getting worse. So then you shut back down again. Well, naturally, when you play with people's perception, they're going, well, you said we were going to be back to normal 6 months ago, or you said, X amount of times this was going to happen. It first of all, it severs your trust with the public. So that's not too amazing. And secondly, it sounds like you don't know what you're doing, right? And I understand, right? COVID, for the people in charge, we haven't had to deal with something like this in an extremely long time. It took everybody by surprise. But the problem is when you do things like you shut everything down, but then you open it back up again, it's like, what do you expect? right? You can't be like, hey, like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe, and I'm not saying just because I think this way it's the right way to think, but it's like, if the gym is open, then there's no problem with everyone going to the gym and working out, right? Let's say there's like a max occupancy, right? Let's say you can't have more than 50 people in the gym, right? Fair enough. But when you have the gym open, right, you're going to see people who they cut some corners, right? Some people wear masks. Some people wear masks until they get to where they want to work out, and then they take the mask off. It's like, what the hell, man? Why didn't you just not wear the mask to begin with, right? Why are you playing this, Or maybe at a restaurant, right? They say, well, no indoor seating, only outdoor seating. And they say, well, no outdoor seating, just takeout. It's like, well, dude, what? Why didn't we just, and I know it's simple, right? Because I'm not a small business owner, right? I'm not out there, paying. So it's easier for me to say this, but I really think if we would have just went hard in the beginning, then it'd be over with. Rather than we close some stuff down, but then we open some stuff up, right? For example, like middle schools in some places in British Columbia, Canada, like they're open right now. Middle schools, high schools, elementary schools. It's like, okay, so, my own sister, she goes to high school, right? And she's like, well, Dana, we wear masks until we get into our classroom with 30 kids, and then everyone takes their masks off. I'm like, what the hell? Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose? First of all, then why are you going to wear a mask if you're going to take your mask off in a room with 30 other people? That doesn't make any sense. If you don't want to wear a mask, let's just not have anyone wear a mask. If we have to wear a mask, well, why can't we just do this online? Why can't you literally just have a teacher, just, like my university is doing it online. I'm sure many other universities and colleges, but for like high school, middle school, and elementary, why is everybody not doing it online? If my psychology professor can teach neuroscience online, I want to know, young lady, why you can't teach, basic pre-calc online. Literally, you can, on your phone, you can just download Zoom. You could buy a little small whiteboard from dollar store. I don't know. I don't know why that is. It's crazy. I can't believe it's been a year. I can't believe it's been a year plus. One of the most interesting things that I think kind of COVID showed, man, is how different people react to these situations, And I was watching The Dark Knight actually last night with my family, and when we were kind of looking at, the Joker and his message. If you haven't seen The Dark Knight, fantastic movie. And basically the message was, if people are starving, if people are hungry, if people fear their safety, they won't hesitate to take your life in order to save their own. And that was kind of the Joker's message. And he was saying that people are really animals deep down. And another thing that my father said, actually, was kind of a badass line. He was like, Daniel, he's like in those asylums, right? In like some of those places where, the people are just mentally gone. He said, Daniel, the crazies aren't in the asylums. He said, they're around us. They're just really good at pretending to be civilized. And I thought that was fascinating. Because, you think back to like that, the toilet paper thing, right? Everybody just started like your friendly neighbor, was ready to punch you in the face to get an extra roll of toilet paper. It was unbelievable. You see, some of these people who are friendly and, they don't step on you and they're kind and courteous. All of a sudden, when there's a shortage of X, right, or he needs Y, look what that friendly neighbor turns into. Look what he's willing to do. Right? Not so friendly anymore, are you? So I thought that was very fascinating, man. That was crazy to see. But yeah, dude, this COVID thing's been going on for a super long time. And it's tough, right? Because, for example, folks, I remember when COVID had just begun, like fresh. We're talking like March 2020. I remember I was going to Walmart with my mom, and we went there, and there's a giant poster that said, hey, 1 month from now, masks will be mandatory. I was like, well, I'm wearing a mask right now. Most people in Walmart are not wearing a mask. Well, my mask is going to do all. Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why am I wearing a mask if most of the people in the store are not going to wear a mask? It's going to lose its effectiveness. So I might as well just not be wearing a mask anyways. So my problem, right, when you have some states, and I'm, going to put this out here for you to I don't want to say challenge me, because I don't want it to be like an ego thing, but to give me another point of view is when someone says, hey, the government shouldn't force anyone to make masks, but they can strongly suggest that you should. It's like, well, that's like my prof being like, hey, I'm not saying you can't cheat, but I'm suggesting you don't. Well, dude, do you see what I mean? Like, but it's my right to cheat. It's like, oh man, Now, I know those examples don't exactly meet up, but you get what I mean, right? What if you go into a store and it says, hey, you don't have to wear a mask, but if you want to, you can. You walk into the store, 80% of the people are not wearing a mask. You wearing a mask doesn't do anything for you anymore. It just completely defeated the purpose. So you might as well not wear the mask. Do you get what I mean? Like it's kind of like in my mind anyways, it's kind of like an all or nothing thing. It's like, yo, if we're going to play, we all got to play by the same rules. We can't have one person playing chess while the other person's playing checkers. If it's no mask, great, I'll do no mask. But if it's mask, I want everybody wearing masks in the store. Right? That's my problem when you say, well, it should just be suggested. It's like, that makes things tough. What's the country right now, man? Is it Australia or maybe it was Iceland or somewhere that did exactly what I was saying earlier? They went hard in the beginning, they shut everything off, and then boom, now they're back up and you can go clubbing, you can go and have fun and they were really orderly and they did what they needed to do, so now they can do what they want to do. Yeah, man, so it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I think this COVID thing, personally, I know that a lot of places are now we're getting vaccinated. Canada is going to have the majority of their vaccinations done by the end of, I want to say July, the end of June, July. So by September time, most people, if not everyone who wants a vaccine, should be vaccinated, which is great. I believe in America, most people, it was in April, right? It's this month. A lot of people are getting vaccinated. So it should be good. It should be good. We're moving towards a good direction. And hopefully by September, most people have been vaccinated, right? And we can go back to our regular living. I don't know about you guys. I haven't gone to the pool in over a year. I haven't swam in over a year. I have not, is that true? Actually, maybe I went back for like a lifeguarding training thing. But anyways, what I mean to say is I haven't been back to the gym in general. Because, man, I don't like it. I don't like half doing it, right? If I'm going to the gym, I don't want to wear a mask, right? I want to smile and say hi to someone. I want to do what I can do, right? I don't want to go there and have to wear a mask and have to play limbo. So some people do. They love it, man. Gym is their life. You do you. I mean, if it's open, who am I to say that you shouldn't go? Go. Because clearly it's an essential business. If it's open, then it's open. But yeah, anyways, besides all that negativity, we're getting to a place where hopefully this will be over with by either end of this year or at least beginning of 2022. Beginning of 2022, things will go lighter. And you know what'll be crazy? There's a lot of people who they want to go out and they want to have a good time and they're going to go out and it's going to be exciting and fun. There's also a lot of people who really enjoy being at home. And the people who are more introvert leaning, I think I've really enjoyed this, man. Like, if you're someone who's like, I don't like going out to parties. I get anxious when I go into, lectures that have 100 people in them. I don't work out. I watch Netflix and YouTube all day. It's like, man, you've really been in your home. And I'm curious that if you're that kind of person, if it's gotten to a point where like, okay, like even I'm sick of this now. Like, I want to see friends. I bet you are. I bet that there are people who definitely think like that now. But yeah, I think that should be interesting. That should definitely be interesting. I don't know why, but I have this thought that like when COVID finally dies down and everything opens back up, like obviously there'll be parties and people will go out. But I feel like there'll be a few people that kind of hesitate, that go, man, oh man, I got to go out again. I got to talk to people again. I've got to, put myself out there and think about what I'm wearing and go out and be surrounded by a bunch of people that I don't know. Like, that'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting. Man, I can't wait. That's so exciting. All right, folks, speaking about meeting new people, dating apps, are you on them? Tinder, Grindr, whatever else there is, Bumble. Are you on dating apps? Why or why not? I'm curious. Dating apps was a thing, right? Where 10, 15 years ago, you say you met someone on a dating app on the internet, they'd be like, whoa, yikes, they're probably crazy, right? But now it's a lot more normal. Now, normal, I don't want you to think it's right or wrong. Normal just means, hey, man, it's the norm. It's what the majority are doing, right? So I want that to be extremely clear. It's like, that's normal. That doesn't mean it's right. At one point in Germany, it was normal to give any Jew that you knew to the Nazis. That was normal. And let the Nazis do whatever they wanted with them. That was normal, but normal does not mean right. Anyways, I'm not saying it's wrong. Oh, I mean, that's obviously wrong. But with respect to dating apps, so are you on there? And if so, I want to know, okay, here's the thing, right? I'm very naive. I was going to say, well, are you on there to find a long-term relationship? Are you on there for hookups? Or are you on there just for fun? Now, most people who want to just hook up, they probably wouldn't honestly say, yeah, I'm there just to hook up. They'll say, I'm just there for fun, just to see what happens, just to talk to people, even if it doesn't lead anywhere. And I don't know how many people are looking for something serious on an app like Tinder or something. I do know that some people, like, they'll download the app, they'll go through it just as like a mental thing, and then they'll delete it. And then a couple months go by, they download it again, they go through it, they swipe right and left. I don't know, which way is it that you like someone? This is how far away I am. I don't know which one means you like someone. Is it left or right? I know it's not up and down, it's left or right. Anyways, you swipe one way, it means you like them. Swipe the other way, it means you don't like them. And I'm just curious, I'm like, man, like, I've yet to talk to someone who's met someone over Tinder and be like, yep, like, we've been dating, this is my boyfriend, we've been together for like 3 years now. I've yet to meet someone like that. And I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. Dating apps are interesting. I've never been on a dating app, and this is just my own personal perspective. They're for a couple reasons, right? Number one is I'm worried that I like the validation too much. Folks, if one person comes up and tells you, hey man, you're super freaking ugly, right? Generally, that's not going to impact you a lot, or it shouldn't. Why? Because it's just one person. When 5 people tell you that, it's like, okay, like I'm going to seriously take that into consideration. I might be genuinely ugly. If 20 people tell you that, it's like, all right, I'm definitely getting plastic surgery now, right? And the same thing with, let's say, positive things. Wow, you're super attractive, you're super hot, you're super good looking, right? That stuff impacts you. And I personally, I don't know how I'd feel about being on a dating app, because eventually, no matter who you are, you're going to get matches, right? Eventually, it's just going to happen. It's just how often and how frequently and whatever. I'm worried about what that does to you with respect to the dopamine that gets released every time that you get a match, right? So I'm guessing you're swiping, oh, a match, swiping, oh, and then you get a match. And then, I mean, well, you're looking at it and you're going, well, Dana, I don't understand what the negative is, right? It's increasing your self-esteem, it makes you feel good. You're going, oh, that girl thinks I'm attractive and I find her attractive, you know, and we never talked, right? She just knows that I think certain things about her and I know that she thinks certain things about me. Is that a bad thing? I don't know, man. I'm curious about this validation aspect. Like, do I want to know everyone who finds me attractive? And let's say I have a number in my head. Let's say I swipe for 50 people, and I have a number in my head that I think should find me attractive. Now, if it's below that number, is that going to hurt my self-esteem? Chances are you'd say yes, and I'd agree with you. Or you get so many people that say, yeah, you're amazing, oh my goodness, you're attractive, like just by matching, that your self-esteem goes through the roof. And can that become a little egotistical? Can that become like in that kind of world of narcissism of like, wow, look at how amazing I am, look at how many people like me. And you kind of, and I'm totally, this is just a theory, like I don't know where I'm going with this, and you kind of let those matches play an impact on your self-esteem and on your worth as a person. I know that's a big of a leap, but seriously though, think about that for a second, right? Think about what I said about one person finding you attractive and one person saying you suck. Now think 25, 50, 75, 100, 500 people matching, right? And then out of those 500, 250 of them send you a message being like, hey, you're beautiful, let's talk. It's like, man, that would really do something to you, huh? Like you'd really think like you're some sort of goddess walking around, right? And I'm not saying you're a piece of garbage, but it's like, I wonder how that impacts you and your interactions with people and going to parties, right? Again, it would increase your confidence, I would imagine, but also, could it increase your cockiness and your arrogance? You know, like, oh, like, you know, every guy should like me. I've met, like, this is interesting, right? I've met girls who think that they're super ugly and they're super insecure when they're absolutely beautiful. And I've also met girls who think they own the world. It's unbelievable. Like, they'll be sitting in a coffee shop and they'll think that the whole world revolves around them. And if they ask out any guy, they would have to say yes. Because either either you have to say yes or you've got a mental disorder or something. You know, or like there's some crazy reason why you haven't said yes to her. Why you haven't said yes to her. Because God forbid, like she's just not your type or you're not looking for a relationship. So anyways, with that in mind, it's like, man, maybe that validation could really negatively impact someone. Second reason I'm not on dating apps is, folks, I don't like how easy it is for you to talk to everyone. For example, you know, there's something about knowing that someone's swiping. And again, this is just my own opinion. I feel like me and like 50 other dudes are standing there, right? And I'm standing, and I'm not saying anything. I have a name tag that says Daniel. I have a little bio above me that says, you know, enthusiastic, energetic, you know, loves the outdoors, likes dogs, whatever. And she's looking at me and she just goes, yes, yes, no, no, yes, no. Isn't it kind of like dehumanizing? You know, it's like, what do you mean yes, no? You don't know me. Why would you make that decision without even knowing me? Well, I can read your bio. It's like, well, all right, well, I guess you know my entire life now. You know? I mean, listen, physical features wise, I get it, right? Some people have preferences, tall, curly hair, you know, big waist, small waist, X, Y, whatever it is, and I understand that. But there's something about knowing that, man, I'm just one of the 20 eggs in her basket that I don't like. I don't like, you know, I don't like being so easy for everyone to, I don't know, judge. I don't know, like to pick up, to be interested in, to have a relationship with. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that, right? But again, in this day and age, you'd say, well, Daniel, that's basically life, right? If you have Instagram, if you have Snapchat, the girl who you're talking to, or the guy who you're talking to, they're talking to 5, 10, 15 people on the side. Even if it's not flirtatious, just as a friend, but they also find them attractive, right? Or maybe, let's say they try 3, 4, 5 pickup lines on each different person, and, you know, 2 out of the 5 say yes, and she goes on dates with both of them on different days, right? So, man. Yeah. Again, I don't think that means that dating apps are bad. I don't think that they can't be beneficial, you know, that they can't be fun and amazing. And if you like them, you know, I'm happy for you. You know, whatever floats your goat, man or woman, whatever floats your goat. If you enjoy it and you're having fun and you meet people and you like the, you know, the one-offs, right? Or hell, maybe you found a long relationship out of it, like a long-term relationship, you know? Thumbs up, that's awesome. That's absolutely sick. I hope you get whatever you're looking for on there. A small caveat also that I heard that I don't like is a girl was like I don't know why I saw this. Oh, I was looking at videos about Tinder on YouTube, like just to hear about people's, like what people think about it and, you know, their kind of takeaways from it. And obviously it didn't shock me at all that the guys were always making the first move. They were always starting the conversation. I shouldn't say always, most of the time. And there was this one ad that I came across that a girl was like, oh my God, like one of the most boring things a guy can say are hi and hello. Like, you gotta be more memorable than that. And I was like, man, this is such a caricature of what dating is, right? It's such a just exaggerated and just ungenuine, disingenuous way to go about it. What do you mean saying hi and hello is too boring? What? Right? Because again, I haven't been on there, but I'm guessing you either do a pickup line, which isn't yours and you heard it somewhere, so she's heard it before, or you say, this is gonna sound crazy, hi, hello, or hey, or what's up, or how's it going? Like, I don't know what else you want me to say, right? And to her point, she's like, well, 20 guys have told me hi, hello, and I just have a profile picture to go off of, right? You don't see me in person. You don't see my mannerisms. You don't hear my tone of voice. You know, you don't see my eyes the way I'm looking at you and the way that each one of those guys differs, right? In talking. And in presenting themselves and expressing themselves. And I think that's a real shame. So no wonder she's going like, oh man, everyone just slides in with hello. Yeah, I learned how to talk. What? Right? What do you, why so now people are going out of their way to say these weird things and hey, I'm gonna ask you a question and just, oh yuck. Just good luck, man. Good. I shouldn't say yuck because, you know, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, but it's like a freaking minefield and you're trying to be memorable. And I don't like the chasing of it. I'll say that. I hate chasing. I absolutely hate chasing. Anything. I hate chasing. But especially someone that you're attracted to. I do not chase. I do not chase. You know, if you see someone that you're interested in my opinion, you can make your interest known. You can approach that person and say, boom, this is what it is, young lady. Me, you, and a cup of coffee. Right? But this idea that, oh man, you know, or the other way around, right? Or you know, if you're a girl, you know, texting a guy and he doesn't respond, right? He constantly leaves you on red, right? You feel like he doesn't make the effort to initiate conversation with you the same way that you do with him. It's like, dude, like have some self-worth, right? Value yourself. Don't just bend yourself over and you know, start chasing anybody because they give you the most little bit of attention, right? That's a classic guy thing when they say, you know, there's a lot of guys who are upset because they're like, oh man, this is girl, I give her all my attention, you know, and I'm constantly texting her whatever, but she's just interested in this guy who barely talks to her. and she loves him. She like whenever we hang out, that's all that she can talk about, right? And I'm not saying that's even a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, man, from my own personal opinion, I don't like chasing. I will meet you in the middle, right? That was my thing. It's like, yo, listen, I understand you got to put in effort. I understand that effort shows that I'm interested. I'm happy to put in some effort to be like, hey, I'm willing to move forward with you. But this idea that you're just going to be, hidden back there and you're going to do your own thing and I'm going to have to chase you and be memorable and compete with all these other guys, like, nah, I got other things to do. I don't know. That's just my own personal mindset, I heard a quote somewhere that was like, hey, if you're choosing between me and someone else, choose the other guy. Like, I don't even want to be in a competition. Like, I don't even want to compete. Because I know that there's someone out there who puts me above everyone else. Like, in her mind. Like, you got to choose between us, but there's someone else who doesn't think of anyone else, who's just thinking about you. Think about that for a second. There's someone out there who's not choosing between you and two other people, who's just choosing you above all else. I don't know about you, but that's who I want to spend my time with. That's who I want to have around me. Right? But that's just my opinion. You can disagree, and that's all fair and good, right? But it's just about how you want to approach it, and how you want to go forward with it. But yeah, folks, there's a lot of different ways to look at that. Dating apps, man. Dating apps are interesting. But yeah. But seriously, if it makes you happy, if it's good, I'm 100% happy for you. Do what you got to do. I know that a lot of people are definitely leaning on those guys because of COVID. I wouldn't be surprised to see that things actually, that'd be tough. Because I was going to say, like, I bet like Tinder and stuff got more popular. But technically, you couldn't really meet up with a stranger, even though people probably do. Excuse me. I'm curious if Tinder downloads went through the roof during COVID, or Bumble downloads went through the roof during COVID. But let me know, folks, if you're listening to this episode, if you're watching this video, do you have Tinder and Bumble and stuff? And if so, like, what is your experience been with it? Was it good? Was it bad? Right? Whatever your intention is, just for fun, just to text. Sometimes it's like, Daniel, I don't even want to meet the person. I just like flirting back and forth. I like meeting new people, and that's dope. And I'm just curious as to know, like, are you happy with it? Are you satisfied? And if so, what is it that you really like, and what is it that you don't like that much about the app? So you can educate me on that, and I'd be more than happy to listen. All right, everybody, thank you very much for listening. This has been another episode. Have an absolutely spectacular day, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.